Good morning, everybody. This moment has been a long time coming, and I'm thrilled to finally be here. I would like to express my gratitude to each of you for making the time to join us and make today a success. My name is Valentina Ofiepre-Uchegbu Amiebi, and I'm the Executive Director and Co-Founder of the Africa Young Diplomats Forum. Our organization is dedicated to empowering the next generation of African leaders through diplomacy. We believe that true success lies not just in acquiring knowledge, but in applying it. Our maiden edition kicked off with a 2-day diplomatic simulation for secondary school and university students, focusing on the poverty crisis in Africa and the African Continental Free Trade Area. The students demonstrated remarkable eagerness and dedication, producing outstanding resolutions that will be shared with relevant authorities. Today's theme and topics are deliberately chosen to spark meaningful discussions. I'm grateful to our keynote speakers and our distinguished guests, renowned experts in their fields who will share valuable insights and answer pressing questions. Africa is blessed with immense potential waiting to be unleashed. Some may ask, why Africa? Why not Nigeria? And our response is, if Nigeria thrives, where will it flourish? We need the entire continent to prosper as we are integral to the whole. Please get comfortable and join me on this journey of enlightenment and discovery. I would like to introduce our guests. In our midst, we have the representative, she's stepping in, the representative of Her Majesty Olori Atuwase III. She's the wife to the Olu of Warri Kingdom. We have Ambassador Professor Tunji John Asaolu. We have Professor Jonathan Leremu. We have Sir Emmanuel Ewodagi. We also have Mr. Mohammed Wase, the Coordinator Youth Engagement and Inclusion Unit of the National Orientation Agency. We also have Hajia Maimuna Musa Azaji, the Head of Department and the Director of Corporate Affairs and Information Department of the National Productivity Center. Amidst, we also have Ambassador Young Pero, Jet Age Nation Builders, Africa. He's also the Coordinator and Director of the Parliament for Africa, Caribbean, and the Pacific Joint Session. And we have Brigadier General Oghali Lukman Oloko, the consultant of the Nigerian Army University. Thank you once again for your time. Thank you very much. With our opening speech by His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Elijah Onyeagba, is the former ambassador of Nigeria to the Republic of Burundi. He had a family engagement, so he's not able to be here present, but his heart is here and he has taken time to make a video for us. Thank you.
A very good morning to you all. My name is Ambassador Elijah Onyeagba, the Nigeria's immediate past ambassador to the Republic of Burundi. I want to start this morning by appreciating the organizers of this program for the vision that they have for ensuring that the young ones are brought to speed with respect to what the vision for Africa 2063 agenda is all about. I also would like to express my gratitude to them for finding me worthy to be given the opening speech in this very wonderful location. I'm truly, truly very grateful. I also want to appreciate other distinguished speakers that are here today with us that will be speaking on various topics. Thank you so very much for accepting to be here. It is indeed an honor to be speaking alongside with you. To the other esteemed guests, you're very much welcome. And to the youths, the reason for which we are all gathered here today. I say a very big thank you to you for taking out time out of your various busy schedules to be here. My sincere apologies for not being here in person. I unfortunately lost a cousin of mine who we are laying to rest today. That actually necessitated my absence. Other than that, I should have been here in person. And I look forward to further engagement with you, as we move along sometime in the near future. I understand that the theme of this event is the Agenda 2063, the Africa that we want. The Agenda 2063 is a blueprint for Africa's transformation. It envisions a prosperous and integrated continent with shared destiny. The vision is to achieve a peaceful, prosperous, and integrated Africa by 2063. Of course, this is a Pan-African vision. The Agenda 2063 is a bold plan for African unity, for the development and prosperity of the continent. It aims to transform the continent to a global player. The idea is also to achieve sustainable development, because if you read the plan, you will find out that it calls for a sustainable and inclusive economic growth driven by innovation, technology, and most importantly, human capital development. It is actually for Africa's transformation. The vision is to create a continent where all the Africans, all the citizens of the continent are empowered to reach their full potential. Of course, there are challenges that are facing this agenda. We must always talk about them, because for us to get to where we want to get to, we must also project into the future, look at the challenges and hurdles that we face, and find something that we can do to ensure that we come through with those challenges. And challenge number one is that of infrastructure. Infrastructure is a big problem in Africa. Road infrastructure, health infrastructure, education infrastructure, all of these are lacking in the continent. I mean, this agenda envisions that for Africa to be united, for us to have a prosperous Africa, there has to be improvement in our infrastructure. For all of the things technology can do for us, technology can fast forward you, can actually make you come up to date. But the truth of the matter is that infrastructure, you cannot gloss over them. We must find a way to build connecting roads and infrastructure that will take products from our farms to the industries. We must find a way to ensure that we have connecting roads from Cairo down to Johannesburg, and from Gambia straight to Tunisia, to countries like Tanzania. And we have to do this real quickly. There has to be a trans-African highway that will make it easier for us to trade amongst ourselves, that will make it easier for us to move from one location to another within the continent. We also have to improve on transport infrastructure. One of the major challenges we have in the continent is that it is actually very difficult to move around within the continent. If you want to move from Nigeria to, say, South Africa, or to, say, Zimbabwe or Zambia, you will find out that sometimes it takes you 2-3 days for you to move from one location to the other. Even though you are also using airplane to get involved in that. In some funny cases, you may have to fly from Africa, out of Africa to Europe, and then back to Africa for you to get to your destination. And this is a major problem that we have to deal with. Limited infrastructure, including railways and energy, hinders economic growth and trade. And this is a challenge that we must look forward to addressing. Trade barriers is also another challenge. We have had a situation where the 54 of us in this continent actually have about 42 different currencies. How are you going to be able to trade? So if I fly from here to Ghana, I have to change my currency, my Naira, to Ghana cedis. In some cases, move from Naira to dollar, and then from dollar to Ghana cedis. How are we going to be able to trade under these circumstances? So there's a call for action for regional bodies like the ECOWAS, like the SADC, like COMESA, like EAC, the East African Community, to begin to work together and find a way of ensuring that we have common currencies within the region. Within West Africa, we can actually come to begin to use one currency. Within SADC, they can actually come to begin to use another currency. So if we look at it, we can have a situation where we will not have more than easier. There are also custom issues. There are also tariff issues. When we move from one country to another, there has to be a point where we begin to unify, find some common grounds where we'll be able to improve on custom-related issues to be able to trade amongst ourselves. Intra-African trade at this particular point in time stands at 15%. And when you go to continents like Asia, Americas, and Europe, it's about 60%. So the volume of trade that goes on within the continent is just 15%. And there's no way we can achieve our full potentials as a continent if we do not do something about this. And that is the reason why the setting up of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement has become very important. And every African must support this initiative so that we can begin to trade amongst ourselves and begin to improve on the continent's economic powers. The regional bodies must also do whatever they need to do to support one another to see that we improve our size of market. When we trade amongst ourselves as a continent, we have a market of 1.3 billion people. And that 1.3 billion people, if they begin to produce things and sell among themselves, that will eventually get us to becoming one of the world economic powers. We also have challenges of political instability. If you look at what is going on in some of the African countries, we witness coup d'etats, and some of the reasons why this happens is as a result of poor leadership and bad governance. When you dig deeper, you find out that democracy, which is meant to provide dividends, democracy which is meant to provide good governance, is heavily lacking. And then over time, people become disenchanted and you see them actually crying for any form of leadership that is not democracy. So this is a call to action for African leaders and politicians, that we must do everything possible to provide effective leadership for our people. And that in itself will find a way to ensuring that we do not have so much instability within the continent, because we can't achieve our agenda if there's instability. We must also leverage on the opportunity for this opportunity for African integration. We must harness technology. This is the global age, digital age, where a lot of technology is being brought to bear. A lot of digital options are there for us to improve on our daily lives. Digital technologies can bridge infrastructure gaps and also enhance connectivity and in facilitating trade. We also find out that we must do everything possible to promote intra-African trade. This is at the heart of the development of the continent. Investment in human capital cannot be understated. Africa has got a population of about 1.3 billion, out of which 75% of that is under the age of 30. This is a young population. This can actually be transformed into something that is heavy that will help the continent. So we must, in everything that we do, try to do everything possible to ensure that we improve on our human capital development. We must also look at strategies like PPP to be able to overcome our infrastructure challenge. We must also look at regional infrastructural development. Countries that are in regions can come to find a way of ensuring that infrastructure that cut across the countries within the continent are done in a joint manner. We must also leverage on innovation and technology to be able to do all of this. We must have trade facilitation, we must have investment promotion, and we must ensure that every player in this space is working together to ensure that we achieve the Africa that we desire. In conclusion, realizing the Africa we want is actually following Agenda 2063 to the letter. It offers a roadmap for a transformed Africa by addressing challenges and capitalizing on opportunities. We can build a prosperous and integrated continent. The future is in our hands, like our boss in Elumelu will say. Thank you very much for granting me this opportunity to speak with you. I wish you the best of the deliberation. May God bless you. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. May God bless Nigerian youth, and may God bless Africa.
I'd like to introduce Ambassador Professor Tunji Asaolu for his opening remarks. Thank you, sir.
For bringing me to the podium. You will permit me to also stand on the existing protocol with a specific focus on those on the high table. Glad sitting closely with my father, Professor Jonathan Aremu. For those of us that not know Professor Jonathan Aremu, is the pioneer vice chancellor of Covenant University. And of course, currently a consultant to ECOWAS, and is also the chairman of Africa School of Diplomacy and International Relations. You are welcome, sir. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, distinguished delegates, esteemed youth leader here present, and our students over there, ladies and gentlemen, it's still morning, I will say good morning. I am deeply honored and privileged to stand before you today at the Africa Youth Day Conference, a gathering that serves a beacon of hope and inspiration for the next generation of African leaders. The theme of today's conference is tagged as Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, overcoming challenges and harnessing the opportunity for Africa economic integration. This resonates profoundly with the aspirations and ambition of our continent, Africa. As we look toward the future and factualize the Africa we want to see on or before year 2063, it is imperative that we recognize the vital roles that young people play as the driver of change, progress, and innovation. We, the youth of Africa, are not just the leaders of tomorrow, we are the leaders of today, capable of shaping the destiny of our continent and realizing the vision of Agenda 2063. The agenda itself is embedded in the young people, where we want to change the narrative. And of course, we have to cap them, where we are young. We are seeing the journey of 50 years from 2013 to 2063. You will also agree with me that a child that is 10 years old today, I think we have spent almost like 13 years or 11 years thereabout of that agenda. So we have almost 39 years to go. So if a child that is 10 years old today, at the end of that agenda, if you have 10 years plus 39 years, that is 49 years. So that child should be old enough to run with the agenda of the continent and to represent the continent anywhere in the world. So the journey starts now. To achieve the Africa we want, characterized by peace, prosperity, unity, and sustainable development, we must harness the energy, creativity, and passion of our youth. It is essential that we empower young people to actively participate in decision-making processes, policy formulations, and implementation strategies that drives Africa economic integration and inclusive growth. Young people are not just beneficiaries of development initiative. We are catalysts for transformations and progress. By investing in education, skills and development, entrepreneurship, and technology, we can unlock the potential of Africa's youthful populations and unleash the waves of innovations and excellences that propel us towards a brighter future. It is not properly right when we think that youth are not part of those in existence. So we just believe that whatever we have to give to them. I think it is the higher time for us to sit on the right table and see how we can talk about the shared prosperities. Because whatever we are in the world is for all of us. So let's know what is even the percentage that even go to the youth. It's only women we are talking about 35% affirmative action for. What about the youth? So it's better we also share it so that all of us will know what belongs to us. The African Union Agenda 2063 encapsulates the collective dreams and aspiration for a united, prosperous, and peaceful Africa. It is incumbent upon us, the young leaders of today, to take ownership of this agenda, champion its implementation, and ensure that the forces, interests, and needs of the youth are at the forefront of Africa development trajectory. Let us seize this moment to collaborate, inspire, and mobilize our peers toward building the Africa we want, a continent that full of opportunities, shared prosperities, and inclusive growth. Together, we can overcome challenges, harness opportunity, and drive Africa economic integration toward a brighter, more sustainable future for all. I urge each and every one of you to embrace your role as an ambassador of change, advocate for progress, and architects of the Africa we aspire to create. Let us stand united in our commitment to realizing Agenda 2063 and shaping a better tomorrow for generations to come. If we can also hold our government accountable, the whole agenda is a framework. There is not even need of even duplicating any other agenda. If what we can agree here today is for us to come out with a position that all the governments in Africa should use Agenda 2063 as a benchmark for development. And I think on or before the year 2063, we will see Africa being seen as a United States of Africa, and the generations to come will not live forever to appreciate us for this work going on. So I ask you to relax, just enjoy the rest of the event. I know that there are a lot of speakers here. I know what they have, what they can also deliver to us. So please don't miss it. Try to listen and gain something. So thank you very much. May God bless Nigeria and God bless Africa.